Georgia's Brian Kemp, the world's very first special needs governor today, signed the state of Georgia's name, image, and likeness law for college athletes. This was a bill that was passed through the Georgia legislature several months ago, and today in an official ceremony, actually at the University of Georgia in their recruitment lounge, Brian Kemp signed the bill into law effective this July. Georgia joins a handful of other states, and Florida, California, and some others, in passing these so-called name, image, and likeness laws for college athletes. I'm going to talk about it and give you my thoughts on it right now. Okay, just a quick overview of what this law is and what it means. It allows college athletes to profit off of their quote-unquote name, image, or likeness. And like I mentioned, several states have passed laws like this over the last year or so, and they're set to go into effect in a lot of cases starting this July, including the state of Georgia. All of the bills have a lot of similarities. All of the bills have some differences. I'm not going to go over every state's bill. The basics of the Georgia bill: athletes will be allowed to profit off their name, image, or likeness. Schools will be able to take up to 75% of whatever that athlete earns to put into a pool of money that they then have to disperse to all athletes after graduation. Money dispersed, I guess, equally. This is an interesting difference between the Georgia law and some of the other laws. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about that particular part of the bill or any of these bills in general. Now, this is a conversation that's been going on in college football for a long, long time. The NCAA doesn't want to do anything. Every time they're supposed to have a meeting about this, they end up delaying it. They were supposed to have a meeting this summer. It's already been delayed till next January. So the NCAA is not going to institute any kind of nationwide or college-wide name, image, and likeness law until at least next January. In July, you're going to have several states implementing their own name, image, and likeness laws, and it's going to create uneven playing fields from state to state. We'll see how other states handle this once some of these laws start going into effect. But the NCAA wants Congress, the United States Congress, to pass some sort of law regulating how this would work across the board in college football. Good luck with that. Congress, they can't get anything done. Congress doesn't want to get involved. They want the NCAA to do it. This is a classic case of no one wants to have the finger pointed at them when things go wrong. NCAA doesn't want to do anything because if it goes wrong, they don't want to get blamed. Congress doesn't want to do anything because if something goes wrong, they'll get blamed. So the two bodies, the NCAA and Congress, the only two bodies that could pass laws, rules, regulations, whatever, that would mandate this across the board, both refuse to do anything about it. That has left the states to go about it on their own. This is something that was started out in California a couple of years ago, and a bunch of other states have jumped on. Georgia, Florida. There's a list you can look up. The amount of compensation that an athlete receives has to be fair market value. Who determines what that fair market value is? I don't know. We'll use the case of a car commercial. You're the quarterback at the University of Georgia, and the Ford dealership in Athens wants you to be in a commercial. Let's just say JT Daniels. They want JT Daniels to be in a commercial. Well, they can't pay JT Daniels anymore than I guess what they would pay the average idiot off the street to do the same commercial. I guess is what fair market value means. You also can't be paid until you're enrolled in a school and things like that. And there are some things in there to try to prevent the quote unquote buying of recruits. You own a car dealership in Athens. Georgia wants a certain quarterback out of whatever high school. You just contact the kid and you give him $1 million to be in a commercial for 30 seconds. The next thing you know, he signs with Georgia. That's what they're trying to prevent. Can they prevent all that? No. Some of that is going to happen. Just think about all the rules they have around recruiting now when it's illegal to pay people And all the ways that we hear and see teams break those rules every year. There's teams getting in trouble with breaking these recruiting rules. It's going to happen with this name, image, and likeness too. So each bill is different. If you're curious about whatever state your team is in or whatever, just Google name, image, and likeness law, college athletes, and your state, and you'll find whatever articles have been written about the law and the bill in your particular state. What are my thoughts on this in general? Not specifically the Georgia law, but just the idea in general of college athletes now being able to profit or be compensated for use of their name, image, or likeness. I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't think this isn't something I think that's going to, this may upset you. I don't know. People either love me or they hate me because I don't straddle fences. I pick a side. I form an opinion, and I ride that opinion into the ground. I don't change my mind, and I don't waffle back and forth. I'm not a fence straddler. This is a tough issue for me. I'm going to be honest. It does seem unfair, whatever word you want to use, that literally there are millionaires being made all over the place on the backs of these college athletes, and they don't get any of that financial windfall. I also understand the argument that, look, in a lot of cases, kids who would never have been able to attend college are getting a free college education, which is worth an unknown and almost infinite amount of money over the course of that kid's lifetime. They're treated like royalty on campus. They eat for free. They live for free. They go to class for free. I do agree that that is a form of compensation. It's clearly a form of compensation. If it costs $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 to attend a university for 4 years and another $20,000 to live on that university and another $10,000 to eat over those 4 years, and I'm just making these numbers up, that's about $100,000. So that is technically some compensation they're getting. It's a drop in the bucket compared to what these schools are making, and I get that. So I do see the problem, but I love college football, and that's what makes this tough for me. I don't want to see college football ruined, changed, turned into NFL Junior. I don't want that, and paying players, which is basically where we're headed, is a step in that direction. Now, I feel hypocritical, I guess, if I don't support pay for play, because I do feel like they have earned it. I feel like they deserve something. But my love for college football is ingrained. It's part of me, and I don't want anything to happen that threatens that. Or changes that. And I realize that that's a selfish, that's a selfish opinion that I have. That's a selfish viewpoint that I hold. And I can't allow that viewpoint, my own personal selfish reasons for wanting college football to stay the same. I can't allow that to influence how I feel about this particular issue. And I just feel like it's unavoidable. I do feel like the players deserve something more than they get now, and maybe that's the best way for me to put it. It feels like it feels like there could be some middle ground somewhere. What worries me the most is some sort of wild west of boosters with advertising and commercials, and what are you going to do when the quarterback, the running back, and the wide receiver are all three starring in a car commercial, getting paid $1 million or whatever they're getting, and the second team left guard doesn't get a dime. No one knows who he is. No one's putting him in a commercial. The whole point of putting someone in a commercial, a spokesman, is recognizability, right? If you put JT Daniels in a commercial, people are going to know who that is. If you put one of Georgia's offensive linemen or a backup defensive tackle, not very many people or not as many people are going to know who that person is. And, if you're looking to do a commercial and pay a college athlete to promote your product, you want the most recognizable person you either can find or afford. How is that going to work in the locker room? Now, like I mentioned, in the state of Georgia, I don't know how this is going to work. The school is going to take 75% of whatever the athlete earns. So basically, if a car dealership wants to give JT Daniels $100,000 to be in a commercial, from what it sounds like to me when you read the bill, JT Daniels is going to walk away with $25,000 and UGA is going to walk away with $75,000. Now, they can't keep that money. It has to go into a trust or a fund that then will be paid out or distributed amongst all the college athletes at the University of Georgia when they graduate. Well, what if they don't graduate? Mark Webb, or that's a bad example. Well, let's say a kid leaves early and doesn't get drafted, whatever the case. What if they don't graduate? Do they never get any of that money? So anyway, I have some questions. I probably could have read more articles and maybe found the answers to some of these things, but I am conflicted on this. I do feel like the players deserve something more than they're getting now. I'm just worried that this is going to open some sort of Pandora's box that's going to be next to impossible to close. And we're just moving towards a system of just blatantly buying players. I think all of us diehard college football fans that appreciate the tradition of college football, that appreciate what separates college football from some or most or even all professional sports. That is part of the reason, a big part of the reason, I think, why a lot of us are so drawn to college football. The idea, anyway, that these kids are playing for passion, for the love of the game. They're playing for their school. In a lot of cases, they're playing for their state. How much of that is actually true anymore with, especially at some of the big time schools whose, the primary goal of most players that enroll in some of these schools is to get into the NFL. But we hang on to that idea that, these kids these college kids play for the right reason. I hear that all the time. College kids play because they love the game. Pros play because they're getting paid. And I understand that argument. And I'm not a very big fan of the NFL myself. I've always been more of a college fan. I'm in no hurry to see the college football turned into the NFL either. And that's my concern when it comes to these types of name, image, and likeness laws. Anyway, I feel like I've rambled on long enough. I hate to sound this way on this topic where I can't really take a side, but I can't really take a side. I understand the arguments on both sides, and I honestly don't really know which side of the fence I fall on with this thing here. I really don't. I do think the kids deserve more than what they're getting now. But on the other hand, I'm a selfish college football fan, and I don't want to see the sport that I love turned into something that a lot of us despise. Anyway, maybe that made at least a little bit of sense. If not, feel free to let me know in the comments section. I hope you guys enjoy your day. Have a good morning, too.